RLG Communications Gambia Limited wishes you all a Ramadan Mubarak. This Ramadan, RLG offers you a gift with every phone or laptop you buy. Gifts include dates, sugar, mugs, milk, and pens. Visit our showroom on 62 Caraba Avenue, opposite the Pipeline Mosque. Or you can find our sales agents at St. Teresa's Upper Basic School, Chippa Garage Car Park, at Westfield, or in Banjul opposite the Albert Market main gate. For more information, please call 437-1170 or 744-9106. A blessed Ramadan from RLG.
RLG, proudly yours.
Welcome back. 22 missions in the Middle East and Africa were shut down this past Sunday over concerns about a possible attack by Al-Qaeda. The unprecedented one-day closure has been extended until Monday for 15 of those locations. 4 additional posts, all in Africa, have been added to the list, bringing the total number of closures to 19. The U.S. State Department says it's acting out of an abundance of caution. Barbara Starr has details about the intelligence that led to the closures.
Security Agency had been secretly monitoring intelligence tips for weeks. There were indications of a possible terrorist attack in Yemen, a stronghold of one of al-Qaeda's deadliest affiliates. Alarm bells went off across Washington when a crucial message was intercepted, involving communications in the last several days among senior al-Qaeda operatives.
And this is a wake-up call. Al-Qaeda is in many ways stronger than it was before 9/11.
Final planning for an attack may be complete. Dozens of U.S. intelligence analysts are urgently scouring databases, telephone intercepts, and websites for clues. The U.S. response? Going beyond a worldwide travel warning and closing embassies across the Middle East and North Africa. After meeting with commanders, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel ordered U.S. forces in Spain and Italy onto a higher state of alert. 1,500 Marines on board 3 Navy warships in the Red Sea will now remain off the coast of Yemen, ready to react. CNN has agreed to an administration official's request to withhold details of the intercept that helped trigger the response because the information is so sensitive. But the top Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee confirms it's the controversial NSA electronic surveillance program that picked up the alarming terrorist chatter.
What we have heard is some specifics on what's intended to be done, and some individuals who are making plans, such as we saw before 9/11.
Barbara Starr, CNN, Washington.
In New Zealand, Fonterra Group says some of its wheat protein has tested positive for a strain of bacteria that can cause botulism. The company's CEO has traveled to China and apologized for the contamination scare. Fonterra says the ingredient is used in sports drinks and baby formula, but points out that processing will kill off bacteria, and so far there has been no report of any illness. But Beijing has halted imports of some New Zealand and milk powder. New Zealand's government, meanwhile, says it will investigate the problem. Let's look at this report for more on that.
Whether they're our own in New Zealand, because there is an issue there, or children in China or other markets that are potentially affected. So, look, nothing is more important to us than that, and that's where all of our priority attention is. Fully understand there's some wider issues we're going to have to go into, but right now our sole focus is on finding where this contaminated product is. It's not a lot of product, but we need to find absolutely where everything has gone to. This is not as straightforward as people think. Isolate it and then stop it.
Now, for most people in Cuba, going online is a new thing, and it's still a luxury. The government recently opened up more than 100 internet outlets around the island. Yet still, searching sites remain blocked, and the government charges by the hour. Patrick Hobbins reports.
To get online. For many, for a long time, it was an impossibility. The government tightly controls information here. Cuba is one of the least wired countries in the Western Hemisphere. But in June, the Cuban government opened 119 of these centers where Cubans could finally surf the internet.
For a while now, I have been trying to find a way to get online, which wasn't that easy to do. Now that the government has done this, it's a convenient way to find information.
Convenient, but at $4.50 an hour, not cheap. At least not for Cubans, most of whom make less than $20 a month. Lisbeth Rodriguez says she stays in touch with friends abroad via Facebook, a luxury she can afford only twice a month.
You have to get the money together. It's not easy.
Money isn't the only barrier. While more sites are available now than in the past, like blogs written by Cuban dissidents, other sites, particularly U.S. sites that criticize the Cuban government, are still blocked.
Obviously, our government promotes certain behaviors regarding ethical and moral behaviors. Certain sites that promote violence and immoral behaviors aren't permitted.
Before Cubans can go online, they need to sign this agreement saying they will not use the internet to do anything that could damage Cuba's economy, sovereignty, or national security. Experts say the decision to allow access, even limited access, is a sign Cuban officials are slowly realizing the lack of internet is holding their citizens back.
It's significant in a kind of cat and mouse game between the government and the people of Cuba who, regardless of their political ideology, really want to be connected to the 21st century, and that means through the internet, have access to the internet.
Experts say usage will surge once the government lowers the cost of going online here. A possibility the Cuban government says it is, quote, studying. Patrick Ottman, CNN Havana.
We'll now take a second break. Stay tuned.
Shame, my eyes. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah.
Welcome back. Now to sports. Mamadou Diba has been overwhelmingly elected president of the National Olympic Committee for another 4-year term of office after securing the endorsement of 17 associations in the election on Sunday. 7 associations reportedly boycotted the electoral process, and as Babukar Senghor reports, shortly after the announced results, the Minister of Youth and Sports released a strongly worded press statement denouncing the process.
We were able to hold the extraordinary General Assembly, and this very assembly of 28 persons out of 29 associations, I think it was only Paralympics that were absent, agreed to the 3rd of August for the elective contest. That's the mandate of the GNOC. And we abide by that because there was already an extended time of over 45 days when we had the Congress, and it was put on hold because of the court injunction. But we seek the clearance from the IOC, and the IOC said, yes, if your Congress says you can have it on the 3rd, you can go ahead.
It is a second term for Mamadou Diba, the man who led the Gambia National Olympic Committee for the past 4 years, winning an election boycotted by 7 associations, with an overwhelming number agreeing to back his candidacy and subsequent re-election. This second term was secured after what was a very busy first term for Diba, a period that saw him lead the GNOC to the London 2012 Olympic Games, where Gambia's leading sprinter Suwaibu Sane took Gambian athletics to another level. This election, which was initially scheduled back in April, and was subsequently delayed after a number of associations sought a court injunction to halt the electoral process. From then on, efforts at ensuring a smooth election began to see difficult days. But with majority associations throwing their weight behind incumbent Mamadou Diba, his re-election bid was just a formality. And so it did happen Saturday, when the vast majority of the associations attended the Congress and in effect endorsed his bid for a second term in office, and in effect